Live tonight from the Daytona International Speedway CORA Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series on LSR TV, Round 11, the Mark Competition Karting 250 at Daytona. I want to welcome you to the LSR TV broadcast booth. As always, myself, Evan Pasocco, joined alongside by Carl Jones, PDJ Zeller. Down in the production hauler is Laura Lawson. And guys, a little bit of a different start tonight. We're going to be at a 100-lap affair. Official lap counter going to be showing 104. We're going to have 4 additional laps of pacing as the tonight's title sponsor, Mark Competition Karting, on the pace car, the manual pace car that's going to be driven by Kevin McCarthy tonight. So that's a little bit of something different. Going to give us some time to run down through the running order. You're going to be able to see where everybody will stack up on the top. But since we have 4 laps, before we get into that, guys, we're rolling into Daytona. We've left the Indy cars now behind. For the first time on this campaign, the Gen 6 cars going to be at it for a few weeks. And Daytona Gen 6 under the lights does not get much better than that, Carl.
Oh, absolutely not. These guys are going to be going 3 wide down these straightaways. It's going to get exciting. They'll be going 3 wide all the way around the whole track. I was going to say something bad, but I won't say it because I'll get in trouble for it. But yeah, they'll be doing 3 wide. They'll be doing a lot of drafting out here. We're going to be seeing a lot of tandem drafting, I'm sure. And look what we got on the front row tonight.
Full moon, under the lights, Gen 6 Daytona. Whatever combination you want to make it, these plate tracks are always very exciting. I want to bring up the 3rd member of our broadcast crew this afternoon, PDJ Zeller. PD, you've been with us with CORA for the last few weeks here, and we've been in the Indy cars again. High speeds, open wheels. We got some fenders now. I don't recommend bumping and banging at 200+ miles an hour. Not going to say they're not going to do it. Daytona's always strong, and it is going to be provisionally, it's Nick Doucette on the pole position, so I know the 51 car is going to be up there, Dustin Lee as well on the front row. But what are we looking forward in tonight's race as far as a strategy that you're going to have to follow if you want to win this one?
This is Daytona International Speedway, folks. All the strategy is out the window. You got to get yourself to the front here. I truly believe if you are out front in this event, you will stay out of the trouble. Now, it's true that wrecks can happen in the front, but they are not as common as in the back. So right now, if you're Nicholas Doucette or Dustin Lee, you're sitting pretty right now. You're not in the back, but if you're in the back, if a wreck happens anywhere on the track, you have hardly any room to miss the wreck. You notice that the pace car just pulled off the track. That doesn't mean anything because Kevin McCarthy, like Evan said, will be leading them down in 4 laps. But still, these guys are going to have to keep their cars clean tonight, and it should be very interesting. And being an open setup race, we saw a lot of guys do some weird things with their weight and springs.
Yeah, it's more of a realistic styled opening portion of this race because we do get a couple of pace laps before we officially get underway. You're going to see the pace car come up on the bottom of the field here, down on the apron. It is Kevin McCarthy in the Mark Competition Karting pace car that's going to pull up to the front of the field, and we will go green coming from lap 4, crossing over to lap 5. So although it does show it as a 104-lap affair, it is a 100-lap and 250-mile affair around this 2.5-mile super speedway. Talking some track facts about Daytona, well, we have the opportunity. This racetrack located in Daytona Beach, Florida, has a capacity crowd. 147,000 race fans can pack in here. Owned and operated by the ISC and built back in 1959, 56 years ago, for a construction cost at that time of $3 million US. But the track itself that we've all come to love, a 2.5-mile asphalt surface at 31 degrees of banking in the corner, 18 in the tri-oval, 2 down the back. So when you plow these things in there to the corner, again, speeds well up in 200-mile-an-hour range. Carl, you said it's not as big as Talladega, but we're still going to see 3 wide at some point. We're going to see somebody try to draft, and more than likely, we're going to see some carnage as well, which is something that comes hand in hand with super speedway racing, and about 30 cars on track tonight, so that's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, another thing you want to keep an eye out for is the guy who's going to try to step out by himself. 9 times out of 10, they step out by themselves. First thing they're going to do is go straight back. They're going to get freight trained. They're going to get freight trained down the middle. They get freight trained on the bottom. Usually when you're sitting out there by yourself without a dancing partner, you're going straight to the back of the pack.
The pace car continuing to lead our field around. I guess we could actually say that honorary pace car driver Kevin McCarthy is behind the wheel of that Mustang up at the front of this field. Again, everybody else stepping up. But we're talking about how you qualify for these CORA Sunday Money races. Drivers are required to qualify in one of 3 qualifying races held on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. A driver must finish in the top 12 of the qualifier if they want to make the big show on Sunday. Prior to joining the qualified race, each driver is required to send a $6 deposit that can be used all week long until they qualify. If they don't make it into the main event, they can keep that money or deposit back and leave it in their CORA fund for the next qualifying attempt. If a driver does qualify, a portion of the entry fee goes towards the weekly race purse, and all of the money, 100%, goes back to the championship fund. So it's always exciting when you go to Daytona. Want to take a look forward on the other races we're going to see in these Gen 6 cars. Again, they go with individualized vehicle stints. We just got out of the Indy cars for 2 weeks. Daytona this week, 1 week from now, going to be at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Gen 6s as well, at an Indianapolis. That one going to be very interested as well. I guess should note that this is an open setup race. Next week will be fixed, and an Indy will be open as well. But about 2 more laps of pacing here. Let's run you down and let you know where all 30 cars are going to be starting, beginning with the front row, and the numbers may be staggered on the results there, but starting in first position is going to be the 51 of Nicholas Doucette. I mentioned it earlier. And 68 of Damon Gilbert. On the outside of the front row, going to be P2.
Michael Churchman starting in the number 3 position tonight. Right behind him is 4th will be Ryan Borges in the 32.
Going off in the 6th position tonight, we're going to have Dustin Loynes, and in 7th position, we're going to have Nathan Sedlick.
Dan Bailey going to be in the next spot. That's going to be P7 for the 08 car, and 8th spot to Martin Porter.
9th tonight will go to the number 37 of George Berkey, and rounding out your top 10 is Jeffrey Smith in the 25.
And we got David Wink and Mitchell Reeves rounding out the next row.
Brandon Cruz Moss of Ice get a roll from 13th spot. Alongside him, Patrick Skyhill in 14th.
In 15th tonight is Colton Berkey in the 81. Starting in 16th is Dominic Dieball in the 15.
Joel Wood's going to be rounding it. It's going to be on the outside of, or the inside of the next row. James Brown, my pick for tonight, is going to be running on his outside.
And again, all these numbers are going to be a little bit off because of the manual pace car up there, but 19th is going to go to Charles Starks, rounding out the top 20. Going to be the 24 of Everett Lane.
In 21st tonight, we have the number 11 of Dale Adkins in 22nd. In the 09, William Roberts Jr.
23rd is going to be Dylan Ackart. Then we're going to have Sal Accardi going to be in 24th.
25th, the Jason Halverson. Alongside him in P26 to 50, that's going to be Dustin Lee.
27th, hey, the main sponsor of this event, George Bark in the number 30 machine tonight, sporting a different number than usual. And rounding out your field in 29th, rounding out the top of that row will be Stanley Kelly in his number 13 machine.
And Mark McFadden will be rounding out the field tonight.
So 29 cars total. Going to be taking the green flag here in just about 1 lap. This time by the popsicle stick in the air per se. One finger is up, and it's going to be green the next time around. So 1 more pace lap until we officially get this one underway. And again, the pace car, BART Competition Karting, on the side of that title sponsor for tonight's BART Competition Karting. 250 from the Daytona International Speedway. Glad to have you with us, as always, on LSR TV on this Sunday evening, and we're looking for some exciting super speedway racing. These super speedway races really never disappoint, and the CORA guys always come out and put up a show. One thing to note is we're really starting to get through this season now. Tonight, round 11 of 24. Once we get to race number 19, that's the final one in the regular season. That's when the top 12 of the points are going to be bumped up. They're going to have the opportunity to race races 20 through 24, so a 5-race chase for the championship as well. So past the halfway point in the regular season things and starting to close down. So points going to be important. Surviving a race like Daytona as well going to be key also. So we worked down to back straight away, headed into quarter number 3. Again, 29 cars going to stack through this field in these Gen 6 cars. The Gen 6 cars, obviously the fastest of the NASCAR stock cars. They like to move around a lot more in the air versus a truck that we've already seen, versus the B cars that we've already seen as well. So it's going to be a very interesting race. Do they take it easy at the start? Do we see people at the back try to push the issue, try to make up ground? Because track position, very key at Daytona. When it comes down to the end, you may have a fast car, but if they're 2-3 wide in front of you, there is nowhere to go. So it's going to be these opening portions of this 100-lap affair that are going to set people up to see who's going to be able to fight for the win tonight. Pace car gets set to dive down to pit road, and pace car is actually going to stay out 1 additional lap. So this race is going to be a shortened distance, I guess.
Yeah, something happened there in the back of the pack there. Don't know exactly what it was. I think some guys kind of were getting antsy on the pace laps here and got into each other. I see a couple guys going
in guys have their
George to getting some cars repaired, but not exactly sure what was going on there.
So George Bark has a big wreck down the back straightaway.
Dylan Ackert also involved, folks. Dustin Lee with some damage. I'm going to look what happened here, folks.
It's the 0-2 car, guys. Mitchell Reeves.
Mitchell Reeves.
Yeah, he was on the bottom lane and just turned dead right. Obviously, maybe just was trying to do something else. Came up, hit the 20 car into the 81. 81 ended up in defense. A huge check up the 79, the 11, the 29. A big pile up on the back straightaway during the pace laps. Very strange to see. And that's why we're going to add some pace laps to this one to allow those guys to get damage. It's Sonoma all over again, essentially, for the Cup Series 1 year ago. This is going to shorten the length of the race.
Trying to figure out what happened. I remember back quite a few years ago, Mark Martin's steering wheel came off. I wonder if his steering wheel might have stuck or froze somewhere on him. Because that was just kind of odd, just to turn straight right for no reason.
That was a very odd occurrence of events there. Some cars with some heavy damage include Dustin Lee, George Bark, Dylan Ackert, Stanley Kelly, Mark McFadden got a little piece of it. I'm seeing a couple other guys, but man, that was just a big junk back there on a pace lap. It's not every day you get to talk about wrecking a pace lap. See the 11 car also has some damage, and man, that was just a big one, folks. Hopefully they'll move past this and rebuild their cars, but man, that was a tough break. Not nothing you want to see on the pace lap. I'm curious to see if they're going to add another pace lap to let them get their cars fixed. We will see this time, and it appears he is still staying out of them.
And that's going to hurt for those people that have had to come down pit road. Use a quick fix from that, as you're working with a limited number of those. So at no fault of your own, before the race even starts, you're going to be using up one of your quick fixes, which at a track like Daytona, where it can get ugly real quick in these big packs, and you don't really want to have to bank on using those quick fixes, Carl. That's bad news for them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now, especially for somebody who may be up there in the points championship, out of no fault of their own, as you said, they got damage on their car. They got to go in and get it fixed. Now, if something happens out on that racetrack, they got to hope they're not in the middle of it, because they no longer are able to get in here, get their car repaired during the race, and that could be huge. That could have huge implications on the points championship here towards the end of the season.
Speaking of huge implications, George Bark blew his motor coming down pit road and overshot his pit stall, so he had to reset his car, and now he's in the middle of taking about a 3-minute tow just because he missed his pit stall by about half a car length. So George Bark is going to go down a lap here, and that's huge. He just caught a horrible break here and already in this race before we even get the green flag. George Bark is in quite a bit of a hole. It seems though everyone else got to their pit stall, but Bark, awful luck here so far.
And it'll be interesting to see if the pace car, Kevin McCarthy, and the CORA officials decide to wait and allow George Bark, because again, this is technically green flag conditions. We're not actually working under a yellow that's going to be oriented by the sim. From the rest of the race on, if we get a caution, it is going to be the Ford First Mustang pace car out there on track. But I'm going to be curious to see if CORA officials continue this pacing for a few laps to allow those guys that got damaged and even lost lead laps to cycle around and group back up. We're just playing it by ear right now. Obviously, they're having an active discussion. The car up there, the pace car, driven by Kevin McCarthy, is still staying out at the moment. Looks like there's about 3 people on pit road. Mark McFadden was one of them. He's out and away. Still Mitchell Reeves and George Bark. Believe they were the only 2 cars that had to take a tow, are still down on pit road. And I believe that we're hearing that is 1 to green that time around. So I believe we're going to be going green coming over to lap number 8, which is going to shorten this race distance by 3 laps.
So George Bark is finally getting his tires on his machine there. Just an awful break for the Bark crew, and he's going to be down the way. He's only going to be 1 lap down, but that's just tough luck here early in this event. Nothing of his doing, nothing he could prevent. And he's going to start this race in the hole, unfortunately. But we're getting closer to 1 to green here, guys, and this is going to be it's going to be very interesting, folks, to see what goes down.
Looks like George Bark is actually being scored as a lead lap car, 34 seconds off right now. Going to be catching up to the pack that is working down the back straightaway. Not sure how he managed that. He's off the way. Mitchell Reeves has actually disconnected. The 0-2 car has had enough. He's actually out of the race, possibly being forced out because once he got all of that fixed, maybe couldn't drive car, as you said, maybe a wheel issue. He disconnected. He is now reconnected, so possibly an issue with his sim has caused him to go back. So possibly going green this time by with 28 cars that are actually on track. The 0-2 car going to be awaiting an update on what Mitchell Reeves' situation is, but from what we heard that last time by, Kevin McCarthy is going to pull the BART competition karting pace car off and down to the safety of pit road, and a driver to the number 51 car is going to get this one kicked off. Pace car down and away. Nick Doucette will be in control. It's going to be a manual restart here. Green flag now in the air, and finally we're racing Sunday Muddy style from Daytona. Took a while, but we're at it after drama pre-race still. Going to be first side-by-side battle for second. Damon Gilbert on the outside can't get down in line. Michael Churchman with a good start. However, the 51 is kind of all out by himself. That might hurt him if that 68 and 32 can get hooked up high before Churchman gets to him.
That's absolutely going to hurt him because these guys are hooked up and they're coming in. But the thing that's really going to hurt him, well, looks like somebody's going to get right up on his back bumper here now and go ahead and push him along. So it looks like he'll be fine. Was going to say that it looked like the Storm Boys were going to hook up there and just go right around Nicholas Doucette, but they did not. They actually got on his back bumper and decided to give him a push.
Right now, Nicholas Doucette continues to lead this race. Michael Churchill is right behind him right now. His teammate Sedlick is looking right behind him. And the inside line is made up of those three and the 40 of Dustin Loyne. So on the outside, though, we're going to watch them try to make a charge. That would be Damon Gilbert and Ryan Borges. Just some good two-lane racing. I'm sure all of you LSR fans are used to this. We have a lot of super speedway races, it seems like, and you can see another piece of spectacular super speedway racing here again tonight. As so far, I think they're driving really calm right now. This is fun to watch.
Field got rather spread out in that exchange because of the fact that there wasn't, again, an immediate green flag being thrown by the sim. They had to wait for Kevin McCarthy to throw the green flag essentially from the pace car, let them know that track was green. And because of that, guys, really spread out. At this point, we're normally talking about how everybody's, within 1.2 seconds. This lead pack of cars, pretty good length. I mean, it pretty much goes all the way back if you want to 20th position. However, they are quite spread out all the way through there, about 2 seconds separated. But a lot of guys outside the top 20, 3+ seconds back. Stanley Kelly got way out of it. He's already 8 seconds off. So a lot of the guys that are back did not benefit at all from the way that went down.
Back here taking a look at the 00 car of James Brown, the CEO of CORA. I had a privilege to talk to him earlier in the week. He gave me a call, and he was just ecstatic. He said this is the best car he has ever had for Daytona, and to keep an eye on him. And right now he's got his partner right now, Gordon Berkey, in behind him, giving him a push. So let's take a look at James Brown tonight. He's my pick. He said he's got the best car. He said he don't think that anybody's going to be able to touch him.
So that is a scary thought whenever someone says they don't think anyone's going to be able to touch them, because a lot of times people are right at calling things like that. As we still have Nicholas Doucette leading this race, followed closely behind by Michael Churchman. Churchman's going to go up there and just try to gently touch the bumper of Doucette and try to push him away here. Although he has his teammate right behind him with Nathan Sedlick. Sedlick probably wants to work with Churchman here, I would have to imagine at least. Remember, these Gen 6 cars, though, iRacing made modifications to them, so these are hard cars to push in. The bumpers don't necessarily align in the Gen 6 car, and they get heated very quickly. And just like any restricted plate race you see, if you don't pay attention to your revs and everything, your motor can blow up really quick if your oil temperature or water temperature gets too high, and that is not good. You do not want to blow your motor here, because that will create a big one quick, Evan.
At the inside sits right now 4 car lengths that are good over the first car up at high side, being the 68 of Damon Gilbert. Still has the 32 of Ryan Borges behind them. They started up on the outside, and that's what they've been all race long. 32 now pushing the 68 down the back straightaway. Just as now Michael Churchman sees that, he gets to the back, pushes Nick Doucette down the straightaway. The outside lane's able to get up to what's going to be P3. They clear the 35 of Nathan Sedlick. However, because he's on the bottom, 35 going to be able to follow Churchman back up and through, and it's this side-by-side jockeying for position thing that we're used to seeing. Nobody really forcing anything wild 3 wide quite yet, but the one thing that you know about these plate tracks is things can group up very quickly. We saw how spread out we were on the start of the race. That I said through 15th place, it's about 2 seconds. Once you got the people at the front not pushing all the time, you see the 88 trying to keep that engine cool. Drafting's faster, so everybody behind them, 51 is probably one of the slowest cars in this lead pack. We went from that to already having a top 15 cars within 0.8 of a second of each other. That's when wrecks can happen. When everybody groups back up at once, there's a lot of checking up. You get a big head of steam. Somebody tries to force an error or force it, and they don't need to cause a mistake. So far, everybody clean and green right now, as this lead group, again, really has turned into an actual pack after being quite strung out.
Yeah, watching these guys dancing around, that's another thing that you see a lot happen on these super speedways. These guys dance around a lot. They'll get them behind somebody and start kind of windshield wipering behind the car that they're pushing there, and they'll get up there and actually get into the outside lane and cause the driver on the outside to hit the wall. I've seen that happen. I've done it many times. So yeah, I know exactly what you're saying on that. But the 68 car here, he hasn't made too much headway. They kind of got up here to around the second, third position and kind of stalled out there on that outside line.
Yes, that is trouble brewing for them right now. Just an update, Mitchell Reeves has returned to the racetrack. He is 6 laps down, virtually out of it at this point. Just a darn shame for that crew, but that does not affect the battling up front. So we're going to keep our eyes on that, as this huge pack of cars all the way back to, well dang, this is the lead pack is basically the whole field right now. You'd have to go all the way back to about 20th when they start getting separated. 20th and 21st, that is. They're a little bit apart from each other, but the rest of that, this is a huge lead pack. As we're watching the outside line start to make a charge, Damon Gilbert being pushed by Ryan Borges in his number 32 machine. Borges already a one-time winner this season. He won at Richmond in the super late models. And we're watching him try to make a charge to the front here with Damon Gilbert. Gilbert now door-to-door with Doucette. Going to lose a little bit of ground because Borges couldn't quite get to his bumper in time. That's okay, because this is still a long race and a lot of time to go. And I'm sure these guys are giving it their 100% effort right now as we watch Damon Gilbert push it for all he has on the outside using that side draft. And they're going to try to charge the lead here, Evan.
Great aerial shots show you how we are two abreast throughout this entire field. Essentially, that outside lane was able to get up, challenge for the top spot, then drop back off as Borges again had to get off the back bumper of Damon Gilbert. And if you're a guy who snuck down on the bottom like at 08 of Dan Bailey, at 8 car in there as well, Martin Porter, nowhere to go. So essentially at this point in the race, although you've got to be aggressive on the throttle, letting off so that you can stay right on that guy in front of you, because you don't want to slide back, have somebody on the outside tucked down in line in front of you. You're just riding at this point in the race. It's not a single file freight train, but it's a 2-wide freight train. I mean, a lot of these guys just riding. They're all over the radio right now. See, check right there for the 08. The 8 has to check up. The drivers are letting each other know. Just kind of riding around right now. The most entertaining spot you're going to have is if you're, I think, the 32 of Ryan Borges, because you're pushing that guy on the outside, trying to make something happen. One thing that Borges needs to be worried about is he might push that 68 machine clear of whoever's leading the inside charge. Damon Gilbert's to drop off, leave him, go down to the bottom. Borges would have to slide back to the 15 of Dominic Dieball, then be the one that gets help. But I think Michael Churchman's running a great race right now, Carl. You're taking a look on board with Ryan Borges. You see the 88 up in front of him. Churchman's using his mirrors. He sees as soon as Ryan Borges gets to the back bumper of Damon Gilbert to try to make a run, he gets on Nick Doucette, and that's how they're able to maintain those top 2 spots down low.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just watching Borges up here, he's just ever so gently getting up there, and he's just getting into that back bumper and pushing the 88. Every time he does it, though, they get separated here. I've been watching this for the last couple of laps here. He'll get up here, he'll push him a little bit, then he'll get separated. What he's trying to do here, in my opinion, I think, is try to keep some air going into the front nose of that car. One of the drivers that I was kind of watching here just a little bit ago, having a little bit of an issue, is the number 54, Brandon Cruz Mounts Vice. He's the winner of our Wednesday night qualifier here. He got tapped in the rear end there a couple laps back here and got the car sideways. It was a really nice catch. He got down there a little bit into the grass, but real close call there for the 54, Brandon Cruz Mounts Vice.
That was a really close call for him there, as Carl was spotted on. Great eye there, as we're watching right now. This 68 car trying to make a charge in front. He cannot quite get there. He has a lot of help from Borges. Borges just giving it all he has right now. Those two are not making quite the run they need. Every time it seems as though they get up to that number 88 of Churchma, and then their run just stalls out. Although this time Dieball's getting involved. Dieball's trying to give Borges a lot of help here, and hopefully that'll carry over to Damon Gilbert. This battle for the lead has been all Doucette so far. No one's really challenged him to this point. I'm sure Damon Gilbert would love to get up there and do this. We're very early in this race. We're closing in on 20 laps into this 100-lap event. Remember this, we ran the first almost 7 laps under caution here, so that was a very interesting scenario we saw with the wreck on the pace lap. But everyone's back in this event. and racing hard here. And some good racing we're seeing. One car I'm noticing right now is that 00 that Carl would like to talk about. James Brown is doing a spectacular job finding his way through this pack. He's all the way up to 8th right now, so he's just passing these cars left and right, finding his way to the front.
He had actually picked up all those spots pretty much at once on the start of the race. Carl, you weren't kidding, went from 17th to 9th and kind of got stuck there. He's able to make moves, but now that things have kind of settled into this pack racing 2 wide throughout the entire field, know where he can go. He could make it 3 wide. Is that the smartest idea on lap 20 of, a 100-lap race? Probably not. But again, they are racing through lap 104 again. It's officially going to be a 100-lap race, actually about 97 when we include the delayed start of the race for the wreck down there on the back straightaway. Mitchell Reeves, he has gotten back on track again. We talked about him 6 laps down. Other than that, all 28 other cars are on the lead lap. George Bark was the one that had to take the tow. He's up to 22nd, but at the tail end, 22 cars within 1.1 seconds of each other. That's the main pack. You see, you're looking at them 2 wide pretty much all through bumper to bumper. Cars that have fallen off. You got Dylan Ackert, the 29 car in 23rd, working with Charles Starks at a 99. That's 23rd, 24th position there, 4.3 seconds back. Another set of 2 further back, 25th and 26th working together. Dale Adkins and Jason Halverson, and then Mark McFadden and Stanley Kelly, 22 seconds back. So there's 3 sets of 2 that have kind of fallen off. Other than that, everybody packed into that collective group. If one person makes a mistake at the front group of that giant, essentially, pack at the front of this field, it can get ugly real quick. So some of these guys that dropped back may have been strategy, because I remember everybody was with that lead group essentially at the start of it. Well, we only had about 1-2 cars that slid back. Now that we have 6, something's telling me some of those guys may be dropping back to play it a little safe. If you're those guys that are only 4 seconds out of it, a Dylan Ackert and a Charles Starks, I think you're in a pretty good spot right now, because if something happens, you're not far enough that you're way out of this thing, but you have time to avoid the incident if something were to happen, which, I mean, that's Daytona.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not uncommon to see a race like this go from green to checker without a caution. But, I mean, these guys even back here, they're 24 seconds back with Kelly and Reeves. I don't see that hurting them right now. Just don't want to go any further back than that, because right now they're only about half of the distance around this track behind our leaders. So if anything happens, we go under yellow, they're going to be caught right back up the field, and they're not going to be in any kind of trouble. But back up here to the front of the pack right now, we're still looking at Nicholas Doucette and Damon Gilbert here. Damon Gilbert's been doing an awesome job here, pushing Nicholas here for the past several laps. Matter of fact, ever since he got around Churchman there, he has not been off of his back bumper too awful much. But we're looking at the 68 car coming up here on the outside one more time. They're going to try to see if they can go up here and take the lead.
Yeah, very impressive job right now by Churchman Doucette. Just doing a good job on the inside right now, and I'm very happy with all the way I'm sorry, words here, PD. The way these guys are racing right now, they are doing a fine job racing, very clean, giving each other space. This is a very fun to watch right now. Everyone's giving each other off space on both sides, in front, behind, and on the side, and that is the way that you like to see it here. So right now, these guys not racing too hard, and Doucette's doing a fine job managing the inside and the outside line right now, Evan.
Yeah, things are very calm for a Daytona race. Going to be closing in on the quarter distance mark, and just about 5 laps from now, Doucette still leads the 51 car. Talking about track position being important. The pole never hurt anybody for the most part. He's been up there all race long. Another thing that could help him is the fact he's got teammates behind him. That could be a gift and a curse. You see the 88, I've complimented Churchman on how well he's been working with the 51, being able to hold those guys up high at bay. We've got Ryan Borges in that 32. He's pushing the 60 to Damon Gilbert. Behind our leader are 2 more Storm cars. Michael Churchma, the 35 of Nathan Sedlak. So 3 out of the top 6 cars are teammates. Will we see possibly, like the 88 and the 35, or some of these teammates try to orchestrate something, guys, to think and take out both the 68 and 51? Not take them out, but being able to take them out of those lead spots, try to set something up and, get hooked up and go. Do you think we might see them try to orchestrate something like that, or are they content with riding right now?
Oh, definitely content with riding right now. And it should be very easy for them to just ride in these positions. I don't expect anyone to do anything crazy till about 20 to go, so just very easy. And wherever they do want to go, we've seen all types of different types of super speedway racing. It will be easy for them to get back to the lead. It's not that hard to pass for the lead on the outside, being the super speedway racing. The outside lines actually lose a little bit of ground here, but I don't think they're too worried about it. Maybe we'll see a couple more guys jump out to the outside, and we actually do. Churchma and Sedlak, they're done dealing with Doucette. They're going to try to take the lead for themselves. That is Sedlak pushing Michael Churchma on the outside. Will they get clear? It's going to be close, and they do it. They're clear of the 51. So give the Storm Motorsports guys the lead here, and their other buddy Ryan Borges is not too far back lurking.
So we posed the question, are they content? And I thought they might have been content. Petey, I guess we were both wrong because they orchestrated it, and there they go. So the 88 car going to go to the point. I thought I saw them kind of, trying to set something up there, and I agreed with you, Petey. I felt like, it's a possibility, but it was still early on. Well, doesn't hurt to be P1, P2. They orchestrated it well, which is a good thing. Ryan Borges kind of the odd man out in that exchange for the Storm Group because now he finds himself nearly 7th when they're going to come by the start-finish line this time in the number 32 car. So he's going backwards, still behind Damon Gilbert, but beautifully executed, Carl, by Michael Churchma and Nathan Sedlak to be able to get to the top spot. That's teamwork, and that's why it's so important to have teammates at Daytona. Even if it's not a literal teammate, somebody that you've been working with, you have a plan. Doesn't hurt when you find your teammate next to you and, you're both on the same page. That's the kind of things that you can do versus a guy like Nick Doucette, who's not out there by himself, but he does not have the teammate support.
Well, not unlike the real boys out here running in NASCAR. These guys are all sitting in the same team speak room here, so they're able to communicate back and forth to each other a lot better than, say, somebody like Nicholas Doucette, who's sitting in somebody else's team speak or sitting out there by himself. He's got to kind of communicate on the racetrack, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to orchestrate any kind of a lead pass or anything like that. But with the Storm boys, they're sitting in the same room talking to each other, and they're able to well, not in the same room, but in the same team speak room. I don't think they're in the same room, in the same physical room, but you know what I'm saying. And these guys are able to orchestrate passes a little bit better, and they're also going to be able to work out when they're going to pit, and they can pit together, because that's going to be a very important thing, to make sure that you have a dancing partner when you go in and come off a pit road.
So I was just about to comment on how the outside lane had become a little bit irrelevant here, but I'll take that back. The 40 car in the 08 just jumped to the outside, so the 40 of Dustin Loynes and the 08 of Dan Bailey decide, hey, let's go up to the outside and try to make a charge of their own, and they're all by themselves right now, because Damon Gilbert went down to the low side, leaving Borges. So right now we're just watching these two charge to the front, and Loynes almost going to take the lead here, but his biggest issue is Dan Bailey got a little bit squirrely behind him, so Dan Bailey's going to fall way back here, and all that work for naught here. Dustin Loynes going to have to try to make another charge to the front. Hopefully this time they can keep Ryan Borges on them, and if they get a 3-man charge, I do believe they might be able to do something successful here, but still, a lot of respect and a lot of room being given, and nothing that would definitely be showing that they're racing aggressive yet, and they shouldn't be. They're going to be having green flag pit stops if they keep this pace up in about 15 laps, so they better just keep racing like this.
Green flag pit stops, always nice and refreshing to see at Daytona. Things have kind of shuffled up in the last few laps. I know you guys have been talking about it. Damon Gilbert has since gone to the bottom. Ryan Borges still up top. Dan Bailey has gone high. There's a lap machine staying up against the wall there, staying out of everybody's way. That is the Stanley Kelly entry, who is going to lose his lead lap status. He was working with Mark McFadden, so not sure what happened, but Mark's going to now be all by himself, and the 48 probably going to lose his lead lap status here in not too long. But the cars that now lead the outside charge, as I said, the with Dan Bailey pushing the 40 of Dustin Loynes. So far, the biggest mover inside the top 10 is the Martin Porter machine, the 8 car. You see that yellow machine right now behind Nick Doucette, started 10th, sits 5th right now. Could actually drop to 6th that time by the scoring loop. Other than that, our first biggest mover, you got to find James Brown in 10th. Right behind him, David Wink at 11th. All those two guys have made up quite a few spots. Now that things are clearing up, they might try to be able to make some sort of a move. Also, that 20 of David Wink starting to get close to Ryan Borges. Those are the other two Storm cars. Could they get hooked up and then visit their teammates back up at the front of the field?
Looks like the 00 here of James Brown's going to hook up here with a 32 now. He's kind of put a little bit of distance between him and Gordon Berkey, but Gordon Berkey's going to get right back up on his rear bumper here. But it looked like he was going to get up here with the 32 car and see if he could push his way up to the front, because it looks like he's kind of stalled out here. He did get up to the 10th position here, but ever since he's gotten to 10th position, he hasn't been able to make any more headway whatsoever. So I don't know if maybe him and the 37 might want to decide that it's time to switch around and see if they can make some passing, because it doesn't look like the double zero's able to make any more headway at all. Not sure exactly what's going on here, but I just saw a puff of smoke somewhere.
There's a lap car, number 48 machine. That is the number 48, so he's being lapped. The machine.
Is that where the smoke was coming from? I just saw a puff of smoke come back through here for some reason.
I do not believe the smoke did come from Mark McFadden, although who can be 100% sure on that one. I didn't see the smoke, Carl, so if you can get a follow-up on that, I guess we can find out. But right now, Dustin Loynes and Dan Bailey still making a charge on the outside. They have help from Ryan Borges here, so Borges is trying to push this outside line to the front and try to get with his teammates, Nathan Sedlick and Michael Churchma. So right now these guys are moving forward. We have no updates on the smoke. Apparently it might have just been a little glitch on iRacing or something, but we are not 100% sure. So right now though, Churchma and Sedlick still leading this event safely.
And that outside is kind of sliding in the wrong direction. The 40 still leads it, but they're about 4 cars off of that inside lane stagger-wise as they sit right now on the track. So far, still sit with 26 cars on lead lap. Mark McFadden did lose his lead lap status. Stanley Kelly in the 13 lost it prior to that. Didn't see anybody else have any sort of major issues, so would anticipate that puff of smoke was, you know, some sort of maybe a connection issue. Maybe somebody's car phased into the asphalt a little bit, kicked up some smoke, and nothing more than that, because don't see anybody else with a major problem, something engine-wise, you know, that would have caused that damage. Things at the back are starting to kind of get shuffled up. The double zero, James Brown going the wrong direction, ducks down to the inside line. Borges now has no help because Brown was behind him. He's going to have to catch on as what's going to be the third car on that outside lane. The 40's got a couple of chances at Michael Churchman, Dustin Loynes. I believe he actually was clear at one point, but stuck with the 08 or didn't think it was clear, and the 88 was able to get back into that spot in time. Nonetheless, they're doing a pretty good job. They've made a couple of runs at our leaders, so I would not count out Dustin Loynes and Dan Bailey. They're working pretty good together up top.
One of the bigger losers here so far has been the 54, Brandon Cruz Monsiváis. He's dropped all the way back here to 21st position, and it looks like they're starting to lose touch with the lead pack here. If they don't watch what they're doing, him and Joel Wood, they're going to lose contact with the lead pack, and they're going to start falling back behind as those two cars who just went a lap down. Who do we have? Kelly and Reeves. They just went a lap down. McFadden, he's also a lap down. Reeves has been laps down. He's 7 laps down. He was 7 laps down at the beginning of the race. So sorry about that. Didn't mean to bring him into this because he didn't do anything wrong. Well, technically.
All right, so that will still leave us with the Storm Motorsports guys out front here, and followed closely behind by Doucette and the 8 of Martin Porter. So Porter having a nice run here early in this event, still hanging with these leaders. The outside line just pulled down on the inside, so no outside lane charges until you go all the way back to Ryan Borges, who's by himself. George Bark, who somehow stayed on the lead lap, still not 100% sure on that one. I think iRacing might have had an error, but either way it benefited George Bark because he definitely did go a lap down, but it never scored him one. So George Bark is right now helping the outside line charge, although he's going to get a hard bump there. Not one that he definitely wanted, so that's going to send him a little bit off the racetrack. That was from Everlane. Oh, he gets turned. Oh, Bark. Oh, Bark is getting turned, but it's lagging all over the place. I do not know what just happened there. He went inside of about 5 cars, and that was very odd, to say the least, but we stay green, and everyone stays facing forward there, Evan.
Yeah, the 24 was pushing him and phased through him, so we assume it was the 30 with the connection blip because he went down and got halfway into the 20 car, got halfway back into the 24. The 09 put himself into the wall, avoided it. Nonetheless, it was a good save by George Bark, but it's obviously a small connection blip there that caused him to phase through the circle. Now we got contact. Borges is in the wall. There goes the 20 car. Around goes David Wink. Hard into the outside wall. The 15, Dominic Dyball involved as well. Caution flag will fly, and after we nearly wrecked them on the front straightaway, teammates get together after the 25 hit the apron. Looks like Jeffrey Smith got it kicked off, and David Wink just slid up into his teammate Ryan Borges.
George Bark's heavy contact in that, also spinning that car around multiple times. I don't know, it looked like he must have spun that car around about 8 or 9 different times there, but lots of garbage out here on the racetrack right now.
So that was 2 simultaneous. George Bark got into Borges, so that was kind of a secondary wreck because as Bark went around, the 20 got sent around as well. So 2 wrecks side by side, both caused from essentially the same thing, that one.
And George Bark is out, folks. Remember, he does not have a reset. He used it up already. That's George Bark's night right there, folks.
So he is down on pit road. His machine is torn up, and we're on a caution flag. We're going to step away for the first time tonight. You're watching the CORA Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Buddy Series on LSR TV. A lot more Super Speedway action coming up from Daytona tonight. Don't go anywhere.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun, but there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Back at Daytona, pace car gets set to tuck off, and we get set for a restart at the Daytona International Speedway. CORA Sunday Monday action on LSR TV. Back and away we go with race leader Michael Churchman leading us across the start-finish line. He leads from the inside of that front row. On the outside was the 8 car who stacked up in P2. That's Martin Porter. He will once again be working with Dustin Loynes. Sedlak, the 35 car, the Storm Motorsports entry, still on the back bumper of his teammate. Not much has changed in the top 5.
Was watching the 24 Everkey Lane during the, Everett Epplin, I don't know why he changed his name, but during the caution there, and he went in, pitted, and missed his pit road. Just drove right on through, missed his pit stall, and had to go back out, come back in, so that dropped him all the way back to the 22nd position. He was running up around the 18th, 19th position, so he didn't lose much, but he did lose positions out there. Not a good thing to do when you're trying to get in there, get some pit stops, and gain position is miss your pit stall.
Yeah, very tough break for him. Never want to miss your pit stall. One thing that does not change though, pit stall. One thing you do not want to change that does not change though, is we still have these guys going out there right now. The 88th Michael Churchman is in the lead, so being followed by Nathan Sedlak. Really no hard chargers on the outside at the moment. We're still waiting for someone to make that move, and it appears though the 50 and 68 think about it, and they're going with Dustin Lee and Damon Gilbert. This is a combination I knew would get together in this race. They're very good friends, always work together in these events, and now they're going for it right now. So Damon Gilbert, typically a Ford guy whenever we did the nationwide cars, tonight's in a Chevy, so maybe Dustin Lee convinced him to switch sides, although that doesn't mean much because here they go. They took the lead away from the Storm Motorsports guys, almost, and they are clear, so give the lead to the plate experts, Dustin Lee and Damon Gilbert, as Martin Porter and the Dustin Loynes machine will start making a charge on the outside.
So Dustin Lee going to get the job done. They worked up the inside, were able to clear those 2 cars that were leading the outside, and beautifully executed by the 68 of Damon Gilbert, pushing that 50 of Dustin Lee around. Now we see the guys that started as leading the outside charge slid back just enough to allow Lee and Gilbert to sneak through, coming back at it. That is Martin Porter and the number 40 car of Dustin Loynes. They had made a couple of shots at it, per se, to try to get to the top position. Did not work out. They still set 8 car going to be scored in 4th, and 40 going to be scored in 6th position at the start-finish line. Other than that, nobody really right behind them. Again, this is quite similar to how we saw the initial start of the race go. Everybody really strung out. Lead pack, I'll say, is about the top 20, within 1.7 seconds of each other. 21st on back, you're nearly 3 seconds back. But I anticipated that we see these guys group back up again, because again, the 50 car is one of the slowest on track, being the leader without the draft. We saw it last time, guys. All of a sudden, everybody drafted up to each other, and we were instantly pretty much 2 wide, 10 rows deep. So I don't think we're going to stay strung out for long, depending on how far those guys in the back are, and if they're able to catch up quickly. It looks like the pack's already beginning to reform around P6, now that 8 and the 40 have company behind them. Dominic Dybon covered up with help from the 39. That's William Roberts Jr.
Looks like Nathan Sedlak here, excuse me, not Nathan Sedlak. It's actually Martin Porter is going to lead this.
Oh, turn it! Oh, big contact!
Oh, big contact! Big wreck
Oh,
here.
this is the big one. Folks, it's in
Dan
the back
Bailey,
here.
hard in the wall. Ryan Borges involved. Down the track, the 11 gets in it as well. That's Dale Adkins. Jeffrey Smith is out in the grass trying to get around it. But Dan Bailey, in the fast lane race at entry, is destroyed. And just like that, really without, notice, the 08 car gets turned. It starts up above him. The 09, who I had just mentioned, William Roberts Jr., drafting with the 81 car. Guys, we've seen this time and time again at plate tracks. The 81 just moves up to reposition himself, leaning on that left rear just a little bit too much. He hooks the 09 around, and it's Dan Bailey, who has a huge hit into the outside wall, in that 08 machine. They're up in the fence, and then again, Ryan Borges comes in. He's collected as he drives into Dan Bailey, and sliding down the racetrack is the 08, collecting the 11 machine as well. About 5-6 cars. That was a huff run.
A tough break there for a lot of guys, including that Ryan Borges. He was involved in the previous wreck. Don't think he has any quick repairs left, so that's going to harpen his night here, and man, what a disappointing night. Actually, William Roberts Jr. has typed in the chat, disappointing. He is very disappointed with the way this went down. He was having a good run, and now his machine is absolutely obliterated here. So, just like that, things went from calm, cool, and collected to crazy, insane, and the big one, folks. That's basically the best way I can describe it to you. The only thing that's going to stay consistent here is that Dustin Lee is still your leader.
And Petey, that's something you talked about at the top of the broadcast as well, is that if you're up front, and typically that means you're going to be in front of the carnage. A lot of the people that were at the back that I said were going to be scrapping to try to get back and reform this main group of cars were the ones that get involved in that. Wasn't really wild. It's just something, I mean, that's just a part of plate track racing. I wouldn't really, blame it on those guys. He was on the left rear, moved up just the slightest bit, trying to, reposition himself, and the bumper hook or whatever you want to call it bites him. But other than that, I mean, that's just a part of super speedway racing.
So just a part of super speedway racing. There's them big ones, and I expect to see these guys get their tempers calm and cool here. We saw a couple guys come down pit road, not too many though. So really, it's been an odd race, Evan, and that's basically the way I can put it. They haven't wrecked a lot, but when they wrecked, it's been big, and it's really took out some contenders here as this race has went on.
This race got kicked off in a weird fashion. You are watching the BART Competition Karting 250 from the Daytona International Speedway. Again, had the manual pace laps at the start with the BART Competition pace car out in front of the field. Then we were getting set to go green. We had a machine have some sort of wheel issue, something along those lines for Mitchell Reeves. Takes it about 6 cars under yellow, or not even under yellow, before we even get green. They have to come down pit road to get repairs. 2 of those guys of which had to use that quick fix at that point. George Barker's been back down. He's now used up his second quick fix, back out on track, but now finds himself 6 laps down in that number 30 machine. So you never want to burn quick fixes at Daytona, and it's been a very strange race, to say the least. We are working under what's going to be our second caution flag of the race right now. Dustin Lee leads. Damon Gilbert is still P2, essentially where most of those guys had started. I want to take this moment to talk about last week's results from round 10. The Indy cars at Watkins Glen International. Kevin McCarthy won that one in spectacular and fitting fashion as well, as he put that Chevy in victory lane. Colton Berkey would come home in second. Salicardi third. Nathan Sedlak fourth. Ryan Borges a top 5 in that running. James Brown 6th. Dan Bailey 7th. William Roberts Jr. would get an 8th spot. Dustin Loynes 9th. And George Bark would round out the top 10 for that Indy Road event, which was an exciting one as well.
Yeah, there was absolutely no Chevys out in that racetrack that day. They were all Hondas. But that's besides the point. I think I might have my iRacing back up here and working. Having some technical issues here over the last couple of minutes here. Had to reset it one more time. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, glad to see you're getting your issues fixed, Carl, and hopefully a lot of these guys getting their cars fixed. So, as this event goes on, hopefully we'll see a lot more cars finishing this event here, although there's already a few cars out, folks. This just has to be heartbreaking for the likes of George Bark. George Bark with a bunch of damage. He can't get his car back out there. Mitchell Reeves decided to take it behind the wall. Right now, lap down would be William Roberts Jr., Dan Bailey, and Colton Berkey. So right now, that's just a tough break. Actually, I'm hearing that George Bark got a new car. So he has a new car, but the issue is he's 6 laps down. Somehow he is only 6 laps down right now. I don't know how that happened. Is there multiple quick repairs, Evan?
We've had a couple of people. Again, George Bark has used up his second quick fix so far, as I had just mentioned. I thought we only had one, actually. But again, he got caught up in that wreck before the green flag. Had to get that tow because he overshot his stall when he lost his engine. Petey, you caught that one for us. And then he just wrecked again a couple yellows ago. Back on track with a new machine. He is 6 laps down, but that does show us that at least 2 quick fixes are available for these drivers, which, I mean, you can calm the nerves a little bit more for those guys that got caught up in the initial incident. But again, never want to run low on those, because still not even halfway in this race officially, crossing the strike to take lap number 51 in this 104 lap affair. So going to be 50 laps to go, and the unofficial halfway point at about 4 laps. Green flag going to be coming the next time around as lights have gone off on top of the pace car. Petey, you have an update?
Yeah, Everett F. Lane was just driving around, and he completely rear-ended the 60 of Patrick Scahill, gave himself significant nose damage, and actually damaged the 60's car back bumper quite a bit. So Everett, I don't know why he was upset at the 60, maybe didn't like the way he braked, but he went up there, hit the 60 in the door, then came down pit road to get his car fixed. So a little wreck there under caution, as you guys will see the replay.
And they've delayed the green flag. Looks like it was an accident via the onboard that I'm taking a look at. Maybe just a lapse in concentration, or I feel like Everett Lane would have enough racing experience to express his displeasure without destroying his own car. But that's going to cost him a quick fix just like that. That checkup, so 24 has damage. You talked about the damage to the back of the 60. That's Patrick Skyhill. He may decide to come down pit road because that bumper is pretty well damaged. It's caved in right in the center of it. They have delayed the caution flag. However, I do believe even though they do that, pit road's still closed. So I don't think the 60 can come down pit lane this time around without being penalized. He may decide to anyways, but race control did delay the start, so we're going to go one more circuit around before we get back at it for green flag racing because of that accident.
Looks like the 00 James Brown in the Lafarge employees cars here is going to be able to line up in 6th. So he's moved up a little bit out after the pit stops. Dominic Dieball is going to be right behind him. Going down the top 10 here real quick. Dustin Lee is going to be in the lead. Damon Gilbert 2nd. Michael Churchman's 3rd. Nathan Sedlak is going to be in 4th. Gordon Berkey, not George Barks. George Barks in the back. Gordon Berkey, he is going to be running off here in 5th. James Brown in 6th. I'm going to say we're going to have Salacardi, Dominic Dieball, David Wink, and Charlie Starks is going to round out the top 10.
Yeah, so that's your top 10 right now. Just sitting outside the top 10 is Brandon Monsivice and Joel Wood. The Pulsar Doucette's in 13th, so we have a bunch of good names still sitting around the top 10. Really, no one is out of this event to this point, so we saw some guys get their cars fixed here. We originally thought they might just have one quick repair, but they have 2. Mitchell Reeves is really the only car out of this event to this point. He is the only one that has chosen to take it behind the wall, as Kevin McCarthy you'll see on the scoring pylon, but he was just the pace car, did not pay attention to that. And and George Bark just left the server too.
I think he is disconnected. Well, he has disconnected, but he just disappeared in the corner. May have just escaped out. We know that he was battling with some connection issues, so that may have been the cause of that, because I mean he just disappeared in the corner. He's gone. So George Bark, very unfortunate for him, because obviously Bark Competition, the title sponsor for the race, was on the pace car, and obviously would like a good showing for that. But George has had quite a bit of bad luck, guys, that we've seen. I remember the super late model race got taken out like 5 times in a row, so he has not had any luck that he's been looking for. And that's going to cost him points-wise. You got to be top 12, rather. Entered tonight 4th. Can't give up a lot, considering a lot of the big names that are fighting to take home the CORA championship when it's all said and done. We're going to finally get back green flag racing, this time at a forward, lights on for the pace car, and ducking down to the safety of pit lane is the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. Green flag now back at here. Dustin Lee on the inside, rather, going to bring us back at it. 68 works the high side, Damon Gilbert, and you see the 50 goes up high to try to work with the 68, possibly even just to try to block the run of that outside lane. Could open up the door. Michael Churchman now to the inside on that 68. If this doesn't work out for the 50 and the 68, they could have just thrown the race lead away, because now the 37, Gordon Berkey, wanted to get up the Churchman. He's not going to be able to do it, and the plan will come to fruition as the 50 and the 68, nice move, will be able to get the top 2 spots.
Was keeping an eye there on James Brown. He was kind of looking down there to the inside, but he popped back up to the top lane there and kind of lost his drafting partner there of Gordon Berkey. Gordon Berkey is going to fall back a little bit so that James Brown can hook back up on his back bumper. But watching James there, he looked like he wanted to come down low, but decided for some reason to stay up high. He would have been up there in around the 3rd position if he would have stayed down there in that bottom position, because George Berkey was pushing really good there, and had to back out of it so he could wait for James to get back up on his bumper.
So that will slow him down.
They're wrecking the back.
Oh, there's a wreck. There's a wreck I'm hearing from Carl. We're going to locate this right away.
Dale Adkins, Stanley Kelly.
Oh, his motor's blown up. Stanley Kelly does. I'm going to go back to replay here and immediately see what happened. So it appears as though right in front of Stanley, there was just a wreck up here. I don't know, did you catch what happened, Carl? I'm not catching this. All I'm seeing is the 13 motor blowing. Okay, never mind, I did catch it. The 11 car, his car just got up the track after contact. And Stanley Kelly, I don't know what happened here.
That looks like a lapse in concentration or something. But the 13 machine just got into the corner, drove it in hard, and I mean just drove straight down to the apron when he went down into the corner. Went to the apron, came back up on track, attempted to save that car, slid up into the outside wall, which is where the 11 tried to actually get around him. 60 comes by, Patrick Skyhill gets into him. That's where Stanley Kelly loses the engine. and not sure if that was a lapse in, you know, concentration and focus or something, but that's heavy damage on that number 13 machine after just driving it down to the apron. We did see he had quite a strange spring setup on that car in the practice session. Trying to take a look at his car before that incident to see if he still had it, and it doesn't appear as prevalent as it did earlier. But, I mean, you know, he wasn't being pushed. Nobody got it loose. The thing just went sideways and went down to the apron. Very strange, and when we stay green, no caution from that.
And being that we stayed green here, back up here to the front with the number 50, Dustin Lee. He is still leading this race. Right behind him is going to be Damon Gilbert, Nathan Sedlak close behind him. But, yeah, some strange events there going on. I don't not even have...
Oh, there's a wreck! There's a big one. The 40 around the 00, and the 15, the 51, the 25, the 79, they're all wrecking. That all started with the 79 getting loose, folks, and we're under caution once again here from Daytona. And lucky I caught that with my eye. So that all started up there with the 79 machine. He got loose on the apron, tried to save it, and everyone just checked up, and it caused mayhem. Classic Daytona big one there, Evan.
Yeah, just almost kind of the same way that it started with the 13, except this was in the middle of the pack. You're taking a look at the replay right now. We'll walk you through it. The 79 car, Joel Wood, on that bottom lane is the first one to kind of get checked up after he closes in on the 99 in front of him and ends up on the apron. Sideways, the 40, the 8, they all just got checked up. The 00, that car's been fast all night long, gets turned around. The brunt of the impact is going to go Nicholas Doucette's way. He was on the bottom. 8 machine spun down into him. He was our pole sitter. He got hooked hard into the fence. Dominic Dyball, Salicardi in there as well. And just like that, another big incident. Seems like turns 1 and 2 is Calamity Corner tonight, because that's about the third in the row that happened in that same area.
Wow, just taking a look here at the Brandon Cruz Montevez car. I don't know exactly what happened with him because I was trying to watch his replay and his screen just went white. But I see that he's got a lot of damage here. He looks like he's about ready to blow his engine on that car too, so he must have piled in there somewhere. I didn't see him initially get into the wreck. That's why I kind of looked back to see what happened, and I was going to look from his car because he was running in the back, and he finally has blown up. But yeah, I was looking from the back of his, or trying to look from his car because he was in the back of this field to see if I could see what happened, and it just went white. So I kind of missed everything on that. But Brandon Cruz Montevez must have got into it because he has severe damage, and like I said, it looks like his engine has blown.
So that was a very tough break for him here from the Great American Speedway. Along with that, Nicholas Doucette receiving a ton of damage. Man, that's a tough break for the pole setter. But this has just been fun to watch here. And these guys have been going at it all night long, and sometimes wrecks happen. So hopefully these guys will get together in the next few laps and we can see a good green flag run like we did early.
Yeah, this race and these 3 cautions have kind of gone back to back on each other. But again, trying to get back to that long green flag run that we saw at the start that nearly brought us all the way to a set of green flag stops before these cautions have kind of, you know, a couple of them coming back to back. We are now past the halfway point at the World Center of Speed. Want to give you a full field rundown presented by Bart Competition. Dustin Lee sits at the top spot. Damon Gilbert sits P2. Third is Nathan Sedlak. Michael Churchma is 4th on track. 5th position to Charles Starks, who has picked up 17 spots from the start of the race to sit right there after starting back in 22nd. David Wink picked up a few as well, started 14th. He's 6th right now. 7th is Gordon Berkey. Dustin Loynes at 8th. 9th to Jeffrey Smith. And Martin Porter started and sits right where he is in P10.
In position 11, we're going to have James Brown. Salicardi Jr. is going to be right behind him. Salicardi Jr. I'm having a hard time tonight, guys. Jason Halverson, he's going to be in the 13th position. Dylan Eckhart in 14th. 15th position is going to be Ryan Borges. He's made it. He's actually dropped back several positions from where he started in the 6th position today. We're going to be looking at Patrick Skyhill. He's going to be running in the 16th position. Brandon Cruz Montevez in his damage machine is going to be in the 17th position. 18th position is going to be Joel Woods with his damage machine. Mark McFadden is in 19th, and the 20th is going to be Dominic Dyball.
21st to Dan S. Bailey, 22nd William Roberts Jr., 23rd Everett F. Lane, 24th the pole setter Nicholas Doucette, 25th Dale Adkins, 26th Stanley Kelly, 27th Colton Berkey, 28th George Bark, 29th is Mitchell Reeves, and that will round out your field. You'll see one more car on the ticker, Kevin McCarthy, but once again, that is simply just the pace car that opened up this race, so already a very, very realm of destroyed cars here, Evan.
Looks like another car that's going to be pulling behind the wall here is going to be the 24 now at Everett Lane. He is now showing out of his vehicle.
Those cars will still sit down on pit road. The question being, is there still a driver behind the wheel? Everett is not in his car at the moment. Colton Berkey is down on pit road. Currently, again, a lot of those guys that are down there may just pretty much be done. Berkey's not in his machine. We talked about, obviously, Everett Lane's not behind the wheel right now. So those two guys, although they are not officially retired and could possibly come back, they may either be waiting on a tow to come and get some damage fixed, or they may be at a quick fixes and are just sticking around to watch from the top of the pit box. So not officially retired, but they are essentially out of the race at this moment. We talked about, so we started with 29 cars. George Bark just now trying to get back into the race. He is reconnected to the sim after disconnecting kind of abruptly under a caution flag condition after showing some connection issues earlier on in the race. Really stinging the fact that he's now 13 laps down, and again wanted to put on a good performance. Not going to be the night that he was looking for. And it's been a typical Daytona race. A lot of, I don't think we've seen the quote-unquote big one. We've seen some big ones, 5, 6, 7 cars getting caught up at them. A lot smaller than what they could do if things were to get really out of hand. But I think that now the lights go back off of the pace car, going to get a restart. We're coming up. Dustin Lee once again going to be in control. I think we're going to see these guys try to fight and get another long green flag stretch like we saw at the start of the race.
Seen a couple cars getting EOL penalties end of line. Joel Wood and Stanley Kelly both were given EOLs for this last incident that would have been, the caution would have been brought out, I believe, by Joel Wood. So Stanley Kelly getting a black flag. I don't know what's going on with that one, but the Joel Wood car was the one who started this whole list past caution, and he was given the EOL penalty. I'm gonna have to look in to see why Stanley Kelly was also given one.
I believe Stanley Kelly's may have been for the other wreck we saw there, where he has simply lost it on the apron and took out multiple cars. See a lot of James Brown fans in the comment section tonight. Want to update, he did have a quick repair left, so that 00 machine will still be in the 13th position right now. Although he still has a long way to go get there with the likes of Damon Gilbert, Dustin Lee, Nathan Sedlak, and Michael Churchma. Interesting to note, the top 2 are teammates, and then 3rd and 4th are teammates. And the guy in 6th is a teammate with the guys in the 2nd row, so it should be very interesting to see how loyalty plays out in these next few laps, Evan.
Well, we've seen the Storm guys, when they want, be able to orchestrate moves to the front very well. Now they find some hostiles up on the front row with the 50 and the 68. Again, we saw them get together and get essentially bumper to bumper when the 50 car pulled up, took the 68 with him. It worked last time. Do they try that same strategy? The pace car ducks down, feeling good to be in the hands of Dustin Lee. Green flag now flies back underway at Daytona under the lights, and the 88 all over the back bumper, the 68 not giving him an opportunity to kind of hang back and allow Dustin Lee in front of him. Let's see what happens here, because the guys on the front row, they want to be stacked up. They're side by side. The guys on the 2nd row want to be stacked up. They're side by side. Who can get with the person that they want to draft with first?
Well, looks like the inside line is going to prevail on this one here. As I speak, though, the 68 is getting a really good push now by the 88 as they're going to be, he's going to get his car out to the front here. All he's got to do right now is just drop down, which he does, and leaves his pushing partner. And yeah, like I said, I saw that one coming myself. He was just going to drop right down here, right in front of Gilbert, and he does. And Gilbert picks him right up and pushes Dustin Lee off into the sunset.
So pushing Dustin Lee off in the sunset. But on the outside, we're seeing a new alliance. This isn't surprising, though, because they're teammates. This time it's Churchma and Wenk, though. Sedlak is not getting help. So Churchma and Wenk are going to have a big run here through turns 1 and 2. Can they push each other to the lead? That's the real question. No, they cannot. They're going to get dead even. This is a dead heat right now. It's whoever makes the better move here, and I believe it will be the inside line, as it appears as they are right now. So the inside line making a nice move there, and looks like Churchma and Wenk are hanging tough, though. They're hanging dead even now. A little bit of an advantage, not much, but just by the hair on their fingernail here, man. It's going to be the 68 that's going to get the lead in this advantage, though, Evan.
Nearly some 3 wide going on around the 8 car. That's Martin Porter. Thought about going 3 wide. Took a look up there. The 88 and the 20 are working the outside lane right now, but so far the inside does have the advantage.
Everett Lane was just removed from the service. He has been black flag disqualified from the race and removed from the server. So Everett Lane gone for the rest of this event.
That's a tough break there for Everett Lane. He's not going to be obviously back on the track, being removed from the server. We are not 100% sure why. If anyone can check back and see that, I'll try to go see what happened there. Actually, Carl just went up to the admin tower to try to get a correct call on that one. So we will find out, but his last lap on the track I'm watching here, and he was racing with Ryan Borges, and it appears as though...
through the middle.
Oh, through the middle, Evan, you got that.
The 25 just forcing his way through. I mean, with total disregard for human life, and he's going to make it nearly work. He nearly takes out the 35 of Nathan Sedlak after he nearly took out the 8 of Martin Porter. And going up through the middle is Jeffrey Smith with, I mean, doesn't care about anybody else out there, just going forward. It works. And a 25 rather than 35 of Nathan Sedlak, letting him know over the radio, you're lucky that he backed off for him, or they would have both in the fence. So don't expect anybody to be too friendly to the 25 here if he needs assistance later on in the race. But for the most part, it worked. He's going to be up to P5.
A little update there on Everett Lane, why he was removed from the server there. They said it was poor sportsmanship is the reasoning for the disqualification and removal of Everett Lane on this out of the race here. He apparently had some issues with some of the drivers there, was asked to refrain. He said no, and they said goodbye.
And he was just in that incident, Carl. And again, we have the immediate ability. We can hear the driver's chat in the sim. Didn't see him saying anything in the sim, but again, they are in their TeamSpeak channels, or again, like it could be using a text to other drivers that we can't see. So we would have to assume that he would have been upset over that incident. We got 3 wide, meanwhile, inside the top 5. The 88's the one that stuck out with no help. Michael Churchma up on what's going to be the 3rd lane going backwards. But that's what we would have to assume he would have been upset about.
So tough break for him there. He's just going to be removed. But we have some great racing going up here in the top 5. We have a bunch of teammates, and then we have Jeffrey Smith, who basically has no one to help him right now. He is making moves like we saw him make 3 wide a couple laps ago, and it's working out for him right now. He's hanging with these leaders. He is sitting there as the 3rd car on the inside line right now. Actually, no, he's the 1st car on the outside line right now, as these cars are going insane right now. And here he comes on the outside. Jeffrey Smith makes some wild moves here, and now he has David Wenck helping him. And he's going to try to make the move here on the outside. Can he get by him? They got a little bit loose on the inside, but it wasn't enough, and Jeffrey Smith is still going to hang in there in 2nd.
And he, again, bowled his way through, essentially, to get in a spot to be able to fight for the lead, and it worked out. He sits right now P3, going to be the 1st car on the outside lane. The 20 not giving him any help at the moment. That's David Wenck. Again, the 25 nearly took out David's teammate in the 35 of Nathan Sedlak, so maybe a little bit hesitant on working with that 25. The other Storm cars, Churchma, who went backwards 3 wide, he has found Sedlak. They both sit on the inside. They're 5th and 6th in line down below, and are kind of about 7th and 8th on the racetrack right now. They're going to want to try to find a way back up into this field, but so far it is going to be the 25 who puts up a fight for it there for the top spot. Didn't quite lead. Damon Gilbert still with the advantage down low, but Jeffrey Smith, all you can say is he's doing what he has to do to get up front. It's working so far. He's P2.
Taking a look back here around position number 12 and 13, James Brown and Gordon Berkey. These guys have decided they wanted to fall back away from this big pack of cars up here in the front. They've seen enough over the last couple of cautions to know that it's probably not a good idea to be in around these guys at the moment. Let these guys kind of settle down, calm down, get their cars back underneath them, and maybe they'll see about moving back up. But they did fall back here into the pack. From what I've been hearing, purposely they wanted to get back out of the just out of the crazy stuff that's going on here to save their cars.
Leaders, folks, that would be a big update here, as well. We are going to see green flag pit stops coming here soon. The 68 and 50 brings down pit road, so that's Damon Gilbert and Dustin Lee going to bring into pit stalls. I would assume they wouldn't take any tires, maybe right sides. Neither are, though. They're just going to fill it up with fuel and go. They're just waiting, and they go. So that's our leaders going away. They get out just like they came in, and very quick pit stop there for 1st and 2nd.
And typically you don't see the leaders be the first ones to come in on a set of green flag pit stops. You know, typically you'll see a couple people try to pull a short pit to gain some track position. Then when the leader comes in, everybody else does. Very different this time with those guys coming down pit road rather early in comparison to everybody else, is the fact that this lead pack is still out there on the racetrack and did not come by the last time. So the main group of guys is still out on track. They're cycling through quarters number 1 and 2. Take a look down at pit road. I see Colton Berkey's machine down there again. He's still out of it, so nobody else from the lead lap cycling down that time by. Going to be very curious to see how this will shake out for Damon Gilbert and Dustin Lee. They're going to be by themselves now. They can work in a 2-car tandem. Depends on how long our leaders wait and how well they get down and out of pit road. It's a lot more treacherous, slowing it down from 200 miles an hour down to pit road speed of 55 in a pack of 16 cars versus just 2 of them. So far, though, still staying out, and Jeffrey Smith leads this race in that fast lane entry.
Taking a look back here right now from the Dustin Lee machine, and you can see the leaders. The leaders are just a few seconds behind them right now. They are 39 seconds behind the leaders, so that's going to put the leaders right on their back bumper here. They are going to be in danger of going a lap down if this stays green and these guys don't pit right away, because they're actually catching them pretty quickly.
They'll catch them very quickly, and these pit stops are going to keep taking place here. We expect to see the complete shakeups. Remember, if you come down with a bunch of guys, it will help you in the long run because you will have more help getting back up to speed. But for the guys like Nathan Sedlak and not Nathan Sedlak, sorry, Dustin Lee and Damon Gilbert, they came down just by themselves, so they're not going to have as much help. They're going to be a little bit slower than the big pack when they come down pit road. So this could very be beneficiary to the pack. They could almost lose Damon Gilbert and Dustin Lee here. I'm sure that's not what they're hoping, but it's a very big possibility because those two can't push each other for too long and their motors are going to blow here. As we see Jeffrey Smith, who's been just so aggressive tonight, it's all paying off now as he's leading this race heading into the final stages, Evan.
And again, I said at one point, essentially with total disregard for human life, the way he bowled through, he nearly took the gate out. Sedlak had to check up for him, but I mean, if it works, it works. And at Daytona, for the most part, you like to have some friends out there with you. Jeffrey Smith, though, made it work. He got to the top spot. Now the car that pushed into the lead, well, may be able to take it from him. The 20 of David Wink has help from the 29 of Dylan Ackert. Ackert has picked up a huge amount of spots after starting 26th. Sits 4th right now on track. And the 25, again, he left that 20 car, which I would have anticipated to see. So now that 20, if he gets back down in front of the 25, not going to be sympathetic towards him.
You got to wonder with the Jeffrey Smith car how much of this is going to be just plain out of spite of his teammate being kicked out of the race tonight, for why he just kind of wanted to bowl through the pack like that. He might be out there with an agenda, out there looking to say, hey, you know what, you're going to kick my teammate out. I'm going to come out here and win this race no matter what I have to do it.
Though certainly could be feelings of anguish right now for Jeffrey Smith. He could certainly want to get back at the league almost, sort of say, and avenge his teammate here. Is Jeffrey Smith leading this event over Martin Porter right now. Porter is in second, and Carl, I hear you got an update?
I don't have an update, but guess what? I forgot to lock the door because he hasn't been around in a while. Guess who just walked in here into the booth? Alan Larson. Haven't seen you in a long time, Alan. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, we're not doing bad, guys. Yeah, you left the run locked. I just had to break it in there. I've been kicking back, watching here, and enjoying the show. I'm at a truck stop out here in just outside of Denver, Colorado. Just kind of enjoying the show. You guys are doing an awesome job.
Well, it's good to see you there, Alan. We haven't, like I said, we haven't seen you in quite a long time. How was your holidays there? How was everything going with you, my friend?
Oh, everything's going great. Everything's going great. And I'm keeping up on what's going on with CORA, and just kind of, I wish I could be there, but, got to put a hamburger in a hamburger helper, so I got to be out here on the road driving these big rigs up and down the road. So I wish I could be there racing, man. I'd really like to be there.
That's Alan Larson, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go back up here to Evan Pasoko now. I believe he's got some updates for us.
The race still running in a single file fashion now up in the front of the field. The guy that leads the outside charge, the 37 of Gordon Berkey, has help with, how about this guy's James Brown, the 00. And the Lafarge machine was up front, got caught up in an incident, and he is now charging back to the front. So, Carl, you said he had a fast machine. He is proving that to be true as well. Pete, do you have a question for our special guest in the broadcast booth?
I do, Alan. And you are, and you said you're in the Denver area right now. Was today a sad day for Denver with their beloved Broncos? Was it like a rough day there in Denver?
Yeah, I guess it was. I'm actually out of Wisconsin, so I live in Wisconsin. So the Green Bay is going to Seattle. That's going to be a tough game for them. But yeah, out here in Denver, they're not very happy.
No, and especially their quarterback's predecessor coming and beating him. I'm sure that didn't help him too much. But back to having with the race, folks.
See, I don't know anything about football. We can talk hockey if you guys want, but I think you can relate to the...
Why don't we talk NASCAR? That's what we're doing right now.
I mean, yeah. Hey, there's a NASCAR race going on, guys, and I think a lot of the guys in this race feel like the Denver Broncos fans because there's been quite a few people that have had some trouble tonight, a couple of guys that are behind the wall, and quite a few of them that have had just spoiled rotten luck, and that's the way it goes at a lot of plate tracks. You can do what you want, qualify up front, try to stay in front of the incidents, drop back, try to stay behind them, do whatever you want, whatever strategy, however approach you want to take to these races to try to stay out of trouble, and even in doing so, sometimes you just can't avoid it, but really like seeing that 00 machine coming back up to the front, and he's flying, Carl, again. I mean, you said he was fast, and I mean, he's fast. He got wrecked about, what, 2 cautions ago, and he's already back up to a top 5 spot.
Going back here to the 24th position with Williams Robert Jr. there, he was pushing hard. I believe that was the trying to find out what car he was pushing here if I can find him. But anyway, he was pushing. It looks like Nicholas Doucette and blew the engine up. Yeah, because seeing a puff of smoke come out of the car and down the pit road he went, and yeah, he's out. He definitely got a blown engine.
So tough break for him here, folks, and we still expect to see the leaders bring it down pit road one final time. Man, you fans are in for one heck of a show here. Just want to give a quick shout out to Matt, all of our fans that are here for each and every race. That would be Hoosier Man and Tractor. And we see you guys in the comments. Same with Tyler Klein, Tidal. We always see you guys in the comments, and we really appreciate you guys always out there supporting us. And we're glad that you guys could see amazing races like this one. You guys are about to see one heck of a show here.
And we've seen a lot of exciting action, and we're just getting warmed up. Bobble from the 25. He caught the apron going high as the Ada Martin Porter. Thought about it at least. Gets back in line. This is going to give the outside the advantage that now has the 37 of Gordon Berkey leading that charge. Has help from the 00. James Brown pushing him. They were scored in what's going to be 3rd and 5th position the last time at the start-finish line. Here they come. Can the 00 get enough air to the front of that car, though, to be able to stay hooked up? And he's got to back off. You see right there coming through 1 and 2. He's able to get back to the bumper, but they lost that steam. They're going to get a little bit of a run coming off the banking down the back straight away at a 2. But still, that 25 machine has the advantage with help from the Ada Martin Porter. But the only 2 cars up on the outside. Again, earlier in the race, we saw that outside lane was about, 10 cars deep when we were stacked up 10 rows deep, with the top 20 being all jam-packed together. Because of the way these pit stops have played out, or haven't played off, I guess we should say, for the guys up at the front of the field, only 12 guys are in this lead pack of cars, and as soon as James Brown, you see, got hot, drops all the way back. That's the hard part about being on the outside. You can push and you'll be fast. Can't do it forever. They weren't able to time it, and they're way back now behind the 39 of Salicardi, outside of the top 8.
Meanwhile, back up here in the front, though, Jeffrey Smith and Martin Porter, they are just trucking right along with being pushed nicely by Dustin Williams and David Wink right behind them. Gordon Berkey, he is being shown right now in the 5th position, but he's dropping back like a stone here. Looks like he's going to actually fall back behind the 39 car now of Salicardi. Well, as I speak, they're going to see if they can get another run going here, and they're going to see if they can push back up on that outside line one more time.
They're going to be trying to do that here, and man, this race is getting intense in these closing laps here. On the outside, they're making another charge. So, this outside lane is actually going to die out here now a little bit. In the front, at least, but in the back, they're starting to make it heat up once again here. That is number 37, as Carl said. That was Gordon Berkey. He's working with James Brown, so 2 of veterans of CORA here trying to get up to the front here in the closing stages of this event, although they're going to have to get by an ever-aggressive Jeffrey Smith and Martin Porter combination, and they just did not get hooked up there like they wanted on the outside. So right now, it's Jeffrey Smith has no worries ahead of him or behind him right now. As we see more guys come down pit road, that being David Wenk and the number 33, I believe that is. Or no, it's not the 33, that is the number 55. or I can't tell the number. He has some weird numbers on his car.
The 99 of Charles Starks. I thought it was a 66 at some point, but he's down pit road. Salicardi as well, guys. 3 guys come down pit road. Do the math. Somebody's not going to have a dancing partner when they get off of the pit lane. If they all go out in a unison time, we're going to see. And Salicardi, huge trouble. Overshot the stall. He's going to back it off. And as the guys that he entered pit road with are exiting, he was forced to take less fuel, I think, there if he wanted to be able to get off with them, because he was no way in pit road as long as the other guys.
Yeah, looks like he's going to get right out here behind Charlie Starks. Like he said, he probably had to tell his fuel guy, enough is enough. I got to get going here, because he's going to lose a drafting partner, which is not what you want to do on this kind of a racetrack. You're on a super speedway. You need to have a dancing partner out here. So Charlie Starks and Salicardi, they're going to hook up out here now and see if they can make something happen and get back up here to the front of this pack.
Now we wait for Jeffrey Smith and Martin Porter, the 2 leaders as of right now. They should be coming down pit road any second, followed by Dustin Loynes and Gordon Berkey, James Brown, Dan Bailey, Dylan Ackert, Patrick Scahill, and Brandon Monsivice. This is your lead pack right now, and it's down to when these guys decide to bring their machines to pit road. I expect to see them all come at once. If they shouldn't be that far apart when they come down pit road this time, but I will not be the lap for them, so they're still keeping their machines out there. We're closing in on just about 15 laps to go here, folks, and it's getting as tense than ever here. Outside run now from the 37 of Gordon Berkey and James Brown. Brown pushing Berkey to the front. They're going to try to get by these leaders here. Can they do it? That's the real question, though, as we see him make another hard charge on the outside. They are pushing each other greatly here. The 25 is going to be coming to pit road soon, I'm hearing.
25's all over the racetrack is what we're referring to, because he got a little bit squirrely a couple of times. The 8 is trying to push him, and there you go, James Brown pushing that 37 to Gordon Berkey. Not quite clear. You got to stay hooked up for just a little bit longer. You'll clear him off the corner. The 8 machine not on the back bumper, and I think they may be able to get cleared. There's not a lot of room coming down. They'll make it work.
Ooh,
now
sweet.
to the top 2 spots with Gordon Berkey and James Brown, after I think they scraped the lettering off the front of that Ford Fusion there. Nearly took the grill off. I know in NASCAR, the grills of those things are always falling off, but they were able to get down the line. We see a lot of smoke down the back straightaway. Take a look. Nobody got a 1 car slow. The 50 maybe of Dustin Lee. No, he's getting up to speed. Somebody appears to have lost an engine or something. A big puff of smoke, but like we saw earlier in the race, they don't see anybody with trouble.
Wow. Anyway, watching here with Gordon Berkey and James Brown, they finally were able to make that outside line work. They got up here to the lead, but it's all going to be for naught, because these guys are going to have to be pitting here very shortly. But Gordon Berkey did get up here and get some extra bonus points now for leading a lap. James Brown right on his back bumper. Martin Porter now sitting here in the 3rd position. Jeffrey Smith has dropped back to the 4th position there. He has been having a lot of issues here lately. Going into the turns, his car just wants to drift straight up to the top of the track. I don't know what's going on with that, but I was waiting. I thought maybe he was going to get clipped there by Martin Porter, and Porter's going to put him around.
Very interesting scenario here. You see Dustin Lee being lapped there. He must have lost his partner somehow, some way. Damon Gilbert. Don't know how that happened, but Damon Gilbert is no longer without Dustin Lee. That makes me question if he will be as good as he once was. Right now, Damon Gilbert all by himself on the track. They had to have some sort of an issue that got him separated. Don't know what it was. But right now, Damon Gilbert is all by himself. And when these leaders come down pit road, he is still the first car in line to take the lead. It's just he has literally no help at all. So still waiting for these lead pack to bring it down pit road as we watch another lap. They fly by the pits, still not coming down pit road. They're going about 205 miles per hour right now as these cars get lighter and lighter and lighter. I expect to see him maybe come in this time, although who knows. I don't think anyone can really stretch it on fuel. That seems too ridiculous, but we should be seeing them come down soon, I would have to believe. This time by, no one's going to bite, so, man, they're still flying around the speedway.
Yeah, they still got to come down pit road unless they have some sort of modified fuel cell, or they're running with jet fuel or something. I don't know if they're MWR cars or not, but they've been out there for a while, and huge spread on this cycle of pit stops. Was not expecting it, because again, we saw the leaders at the time earlier in the race come down pit road. Damon Gilbert gave it up, and his drafting partner, they came down pit road, and you know, I talked about typically it's the guys at the back that have come down, then everybody comes in with the leaders. They were really short pitting on that. Damon Gilbert, however, is going to find himself all alone out here in P12. Churchma and Wink are going to draft around, and Borges there as well, Sedlak. So all 4 of the Storm cars are in a line. They're working together. They're going to get around Damon Gilbert because he no longer has any help. So if these guys can keep up a good pace, we could see Storm sweep the top 4 depending on what kind of speeds they're running in comparison to the leaders. 41 seconds is the gap to the top guys who have not come down pit road. We're going 3 wide, getting around all these people around what's going to be 16th spot. This is a huge melee trying to avoid all of this.
So right now we are watching these leaders just waiting and waiting and waiting to see when they will bring it down pit road. Every lap we think they'll bring it down this time, but they never do. Very interesting scenario here. They should be any time now. Going to watch this time by. Nope, no biters. So this is very interesting as we watch these guys still out there. I don't know how much longer they can make it though, Evan. It's going to be interesting to see, but man, I don't know how they're going this much longer than everyone else.
Yeah, it must have been to the point where they're going to come up, you know, maybe 10, 20 laps short. And what the people that kicked off the stops did is they're thinking that they want a full fuel run at the end and burn all of the fuel off. So instead of, you know, doing the full length run and then having to pit and get fuel for the additional 10 laps, they took the 10 laps first, then are trying to stretch it out all the way to the end. So I think that's what we're seeing, which is very interesting. At Daytona, again, it's a pretty wild out there strategy because of how much time there has been in between these cyclo stops. Nearly had another incident because the 25 machine just got to the inside on the 00, and they nearly had a moment. That's James Brown and the 25 of Jeffrey Smith. The 37 of Gordon Berkey going to get in behind James Brown, and they're actually now slid back to what's going to be 3rd and 4th. 13 car in the outside wall, just trying to stay out of the way. But again, still waiting on these leaders to come down pit road for the final time tonight. When they do, however, they're going to have to put a lot less fuel in it than the guys that pitted the first time. We'll see if that helps them at all.
All right, and yeah, we're seeing Martin Porter out here in the lead being pushed right now by Dustin Loynes. Looks like they aren't going to be bothering going into the pits again. They're just going to go right to the outside of that lap car there, not even worry about it, and make one more lap around without a pits. James Brown, Gordon Berkey, they are not going to pit either. They are going to stay out. Looks like Jeffrey Smith, he stayed out. So yeah, I'm still waiting to see that. Not too many laps left in this race. So they're gonna pit, like you said. They're gonna have to come in and take very, very little fuel because they're not going to need a lot of fuel to finish this race off.
It's basically going to be an IndyCar pit stall. They're going to stop into the pit stall. They're going to have the fuel man put the gas in. It's going to be very short. It's going to be about a second, maybe 2 when they have the fuel man put the gas in. So this time by we're watching, will they come down? Still no takers. So they're still going to stay out there at Daytona. And man, we're coming in. This is 11 laps to go this time by. Who knows what they're planning on doing here, but this is going to come down to the very end, folks. Wherever they do pit, just remember, it's going to be hardly any fuel, maybe a gallon or 2, not that much.
And again, the gap is 41 seconds to all of the people that have already pitted. The guys that we've seen up front that have already pitted, they are 11th on back. They're currently led by David Wink in a number 20 car. Again, in a moment, all 4 of the Storm cars were stacked upon each other there. They are all in line as they run right now. About 41 seconds off of the leaders right now. The question is it going to take these guys more than 41 seconds to come at a 4 at race speed, slow down, hit the pits, get their service, and get back out to reach racing speed is the question. 41 seconds sounds like a lot of time. It's a lot of time in racing if you exclude a pit stop. All of this still up in the air. That last time around, 9 laps to go in this event for the Daytona International Speedway. Again, lap 104 is the white flag lap in this 100-lap affair. First 4 laps, if you're just tuning in, were a manual caution period, followed by actually 3 additional laps of caution after we had an incident under the opening yellow flag break. So this one coming down to the end, though. Wouldn't have expected pit strategy to be this much of a factor in a plate race, but it's really coming down to it.
Watching the 00 there now, James Brown, as he's getting pushed by the 37 back up that outside. It looked like he was wanting to get up here and take the lead. When they're able to do it, he's going to fall back to around 3rd, 4th position. But 00 and 37 look very, very strong here towards the end of this race. So depending on what they're going to have to do with these pit stops here, if they're going to be able to get in and out, like you said, and be able to get in and out in front.
Caution! Big wreck in front
on the track.
Of these guys.
Oh, in front of the leaders.
Oh, in front of the
James
leaders.
Brown
A couple of
nailed
these
him.
guys are in it. It's in front of that group of cars. Ryan Borges, PD, that's a Storm car. I was following these guys that were 40 seconds back, and they just got torn up after something happened in front of them. Huge contact on Michael Churchma. The 88 is destroyed. Ryan Borges is destroyed. And something happened in front of these guys. And this huge contact. Caution flag is out. You're taking a look at the replay right now. We will slow them down. And it's going to go all of a sudden to a late race restart after Borges had a bobble. Teammates working together just got sideways. Borges went around. 2 Storm cars involved in that one. Heavy, heavy damage. And just like that, guys, to caution flag conditions, and those people that were banking on our leaders pitting, instead of being able to possibly cycle to the race lead, are going to find themselves essentially at the tail end of the lead lap if they decide to come in and pit. If our leaders do have to come down pit road, I don't think they'd be able to save it. They're only 7 laps short. If they'd be able to save it, they could stay out. If they need a pit, those guys at the back could cycle through to the top spots.
I don't know, but the 00 there, James Brown, got very, very lucky on that. He got into one of the cars, but he went kind of glitched right through them. Took no damage whatsoever, but it was a big hit. I'm not seeing any damage whatsoever on the 00 car there.
Looks clean on my end.
Yeah, clean. It's clean all the way around. All 4 corners are pristine on the 00 cars. He got lucky on that one because he did send, I don't know who it was, around in circles when he went through them, but took no damage. So the 00 car, he's going to be out here, looks like in 2nd position.
So all these leaders are going to come down pit road. One thing I want to note is Nathan Sedlick, Damon Gilbert, and David Wenk. They were the only machines that are still on the lead lap that will be able to stay out and not have to pit. They're all staying out. They have to stay out because they did take the fuel, but this actually played right into their hands because they do not need the fuel at all. I mean, because basically these leaders lapped everyone except those 3, so they're going to be in very, very good field position, Evan, and in the end, I think this worked out very well for the leaders.
Yeah, if those guys, I mean, yeah, it's going to not work out for the people that were the leaders, and the guys that were cycling through that pitted early, the short pit strategy is going to work. However, only half of the Storm Motorsports group is able to survive it. All these other guys coming down pit road, essentially a splash and go situation, but this is going to come down to what's going to be a wicked final restart from Daytona. We're going to get an updated look at the running order that everybody's going to be in when we get back to the start-finish line. You will take a look at a side ticker there on who was on pit road, who was gaining, who was losing spots. But this race is far from over. 104 laps, the way it's set up, we're only going to have one opportunity to go back green flag racing right here. A caution is going to end this race at any point unless it's on the white flag, but there's no way that we get an opportunity to have a caution and then another restart. So it's going to be the final restart coming up regardless. Salicardi, you see him, he's the first car behind the pace car, 1 lap down as he sits right now in the 39 machine. So it looks like Charles Starks is a lap down as well. Patrick Scahill may be our race leader possibly.
He can't have that much fuel though, Evan. He was on the same strategy as them guys. I don't see how he would. This just must be like a Hail Mary. He must
he's
just
banking on a yellow and possibly coasted it home.
He is, folks, it's official. Patrick Scahill is throwing the Hail Mary. He wants to win this race. This is the only possible way in his eyes that he sees he can win it. So he's going to stay out, and your leader is Patrick Scahill. So he's going to be leading. David Wenk in 2nd. David Gilbert in 3rd, Nathan Sedlick 4th. First car to pit was James Brown. He's in 5th. So really, this is just took an odd turn of events here. But somehow, some way, Patrick Scahill thinks he can bring his car home for the final 5 laps.
Bad news for him is David Wenk and Nathan Sedlak are going to be bumper to bumper. Those are Storm Motorsports cars, going to be 2nd and 4th on the outside of their respective rows. They're going to be bumper to bumper. So Skyhill's going to have to depend on Damon Gilbert, who's going to be behind him. Gilbert's going to have James Brown. James Brown has been fast. Gordon Berkey as well in 6th spot. 7th is Dylan Ackert. Brandon Monsivice is 8th. 9th to Martin Porter. Dan Bailey rounds at our top 10 at a 17 lead lappers. You got Jeffrey Smith, Mark McFadden, Dustin Loynes, Jason Halverson, Joel Wood, Salicardi, and Charles Starks are going to be in theory, in a position to possibly win this race. Restart going to be covered up in the range of about 5 laps to go. Lights still on the pace car. Once they go off, we'll know. But again, we're not going to have an opportunity to have a caution and get another restart. So this restart is going to determine who wins this race.
Looks like Nicholas Doucette decided to call it a day. He has pulled his car behind the wall and fell out of the race there. Probably hit the power button on his computer, and he is done for the night. So that's another car that's dropped. But yeah, back up here to this Patrick Skyhill. I don't understand what he's he's gonna run out of gas. There's just absolutely no doubt in my mind. He has to run out of gas. The thing only has so much fuel.
If he doesn't, what a story of an underdog. Patrick Skyhill has had just a
He was last on pit road, PD. Let's see if we can do the math. Lap 58 was when he last pitted. It's a 104-lap race. That's 44 laps at Daytona on pit on fuel.
I mean, right now he's on the track. He's defying the odds. He shouldn't even be out there right now, honestly. So either way, we're going to have a 4-lap shootout to decide this race. Remember, guys, tires are irrelevant. Tires don't mean anything. No one's on fresh tires. This is Daytona, so it's all just about luck at this point. And really, Patrick Skyhill, if he can make it to the end, even if he doesn't win the race, it gets the top 3. What an amazing story, man. This is a true underdog right here, Patrick Skyhill, and he's certainly, like I said, throwing the Hail Mary here. He's just going for it.
So he's going to be the control car and trying to make it a distance of 44 laps, probably 46 laps on a tank of gas at Daytona. Yellow is helping him out a lot. Can he make that iRacing.com Chevrolet stay under power and all the way through? Again, it's not like a race at an intermediate track where he can run out of gas at a 4 and coast at home. He runs out of gas in the middle of the pack. Say goodbye to all those cars behind him as well. So you have to be ready to expect even that 60 to run out of fuel to be able to make an evasive action to try to get around him. PD, you said it. It's going to be a 4-lap to go restart. They got to make it 3 circuits around if we want to finish under green flag conditions. Once the white flag is out, we can wreck the whole field. We've seen it several times on Friday nights on LSR TV in the iSuperspeedway.com B-Mains. Carnage on the white flag lap, that is possible, and it doesn't matter what happens. We're going to race it out to the checkered flag from that point. So, do we end under green? Do we make it? Do we end under yellow? And who has the nose ahead when it is all said and done? For the final time tonight, the pace car going to duck away and unleash the beasts here. Green flag in the air, back of the ring from Daytona. Final restart coming up, and everybody is all over the gas up front, and Skyhill already has help from Damon Gilbert.
Well, I guess the car to watch right now is going to be the number 60 of Patrick Skyhill to see if he is going to be able to keep this thing out front, see if he's going to be able to keep this thing running. To know when they go into these turns here, though, the fuel, whatever's left in that fuel tank is going to be pushed to the outside of the car there where the fuel pickup system is. So being that there's a lot of centrifugal force on these cars and it will push that gas to the outside, maybe he might be all right.
3 wide behind him as well, 29's in the middle.
They could easily wreck here, and that would work into Patrick Skyl's favor. They're going to come by this time. Just 3 laps to go from Daytona. Can Patrick Skyhill pull off the unthinkable, or will Damon Gilbert try to pass him? We're about to find out here. The outside line storm cars are not working together really good right now. Brandon Motzweiss and James Brown are pulling up on the inside through the middle here, but Patrick Skyhill and Damon Gilbert are scooting away right now, Evan.
You don't want to get too far away from the pack, though. That 68 can't push it forever, and when he gets hot, those guys behind you are going to eat you alive when they catch up. James Brown now, the 00. He's up to third. He's got help from Brendan Mossevitz, but doesn't have anywhere to go because up on the high side, the Soar Motorsports cars, the 28 David Wank, the 35 of Nathan Sedlak, continue to work out on the track. This next time around, the 60 still under power. 5 miles, 2 laps to go at the start-finish line for Patrick Skyhill. Can he finish it off to the bottom? Goes the 68 at Damon Gilbert. He opened up the door. Did he throw it away? He can't get back down in line.
Can't get back down in line, and 68's going to get around him. So is the 00 there of James Brown. Looks like the 54 of Brandon Cruz Montevich is also going to take a look to the inside there, see if he can get by. But big mess up there by the Skyhill is out of fuel. Skyhill is out of fuel. He is up to the outside. Nobody's going to be able to, or is going to get into him. Everybody's going to get around him safely. He's going to pull back down here.
Back
Looks
under
like
power, but he lost. He sputtered or something there, but he's
sputtering.
out now.
Yeah,
He's coming down pit
sputtering.
road.
He's coming down pit road.
So
3 miles short.
He was just 3 miles short from pulling off the unthinkable, and now it's a battle between Damon Gilbert and the number 00 of James Brown. Who's going to get back to the line first? We will find out. So here they go. James Brown pushing the 68 for all he's worth. Look at the underdog, though. Brandon Montevice coming from nowhere. Could he possibly upset the show, Evan?
The 54 started 16th. They're 2-3 wide behind them, but at the moment, it appears to be a two-horse show. Damon Gilbert, the car that leads the 00, the car in control of his fate. Can James Brown step at the line? Do they have these other guys come flying up? A huge run from the guys behind them. I think they're going to come up short. It's going to be decided between these two at a quarter number 4 for the final time. And coming to the checkered flag, the 00 looks high. He's going to make the move. It's not going to be in time. Checkered flag. And the BART competition 250 as we wreck across the start-finish line. Damon Gilbert takes home the hardware. Wrecking for the rest of the top 5, top 10. Still wrecking a couple cars up in the air here post-race. But what a finish from Daytona. James Brown tried to make the move, and Carl, he just waited too long. Hesitated, and by the time he went to the outside, did not have enough track to make the pass. Maybe at Talladega it would have worked, but comes up short. Patrick Skyhill cannot complete it. He needed one more caution in that stint. Came 3 miles short, and Damon Gilbert takes home the win from the World Center of Speed.
Yeah, like I said, James Brown talked to me earlier. He was excited about his racing chances of getting up there winning this race, but I think he's going to be extremely happy with the second place finish here. Yeah, he just didn't have enough time. Once he decided to step out, he didn't have anybody to go with him either. He had to have somebody to go with him to actually push him to get him past the 68 there of Gilbert. But my hat's off to Gilbert, though. He ran a great race. Brandon Cruz Montevice, he moved all the way up from 16th position, did his classic run in the back of the pack all day long, came up out of nowhere, finished 3rd position. So Brandon Cruz Montevice in the small town computers car finishing 3rd today.
Yeah, Martin Porterbrow's machine home in 4th. We saw a lot of good racing tonight, and it ended like it started with a bang. So, wow, what a great race we saw here today, Evan.
It was an exciting one. It came all the way down to the end, and as Damon Gilbert gets some burnouts in before the top 3 line up at a start-finish line, the Triton Chevrolet victorious tonight from Daytona. Post-race still coming up, interviews with the top 3, and we'll get you set for the race coming up in 1 week's time with CORA from America's Racing Showplace. Going to be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in 1 week's time, but post-race from Daytona coming up. Don't go anywhere, a lot to come. Back live under the lights at the Daytona International Raceway, the Bart Competition Karting 250 with the CORA Championship Online Racing Association and a Sunday Muddy Series has come to a close after a wild, about a 4-lap shootout at the end. Sees Damon Gilbert take it all home, but down on pit road with our third-place finisher, driver of the 54, Brandon Cruz-Monsiváis, it's Carl Jones.
Caught up here with Brandon Cruz-Monsiváis. Great run tonight, Brandon. How you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Carl. This is exactly what I wanted to do when I saw that we were going back to Daytona. I had it circled on the calendar. I spent 2 weeks making this setup. I put so much time into this, and I'm just happy it paid off in the small town computers machine. I'm so happy right now.
We were watching you all day long here. You were running around in the back of the pack like you classically like to do. What was your thoughts there when you saw those cautions happen right in front of you?
It seems like I couldn't escape them every time they happened. I wasn't far enough back, and the cushion that I had between the crashes and myself just didn't allow me enough time to get by most of them. I got damage in, I believe, in 2 of them, 2 or 3. I chose to stay out one time just so I didn't waste the reset, just in case the crash came out later, and it actually worked to my benefit when everyone went into pit.
Well, finishing third position there, you've seen first and second right in front of you. They started to get racy there right towards the end. Did you think you had any chance whatsoever of getting up there and taking either one of those drivers?
When we took the white flag, I was trying to put myself in a position to maybe try to pass them out of 4 coming to the checkered, but they just kept on pulling away because they were bumper to bumper, and I was just concerned on keeping the inside line behind me and stopping the outside line if I had to, just so I could keep my third place position.
Well, congratulations on your third place position tonight, Brandon. You had a great run, and who makes this possible for you?
Small Town Computers, Woodwrench Motorsports, those guys are fantastic. Joel, Tim, Dom, absolutely amazing group of guys there. CORA, I'm so happy that that you actually got me into this league, Carl. I thank you so much for getting me here. And just for all the fans watching at their home, you guys are part of the reason that we can put this on YouTube. And LSR for putting this up. We truly enjoy your broadcast, guys. Thank you so much.
That's our third place finisher, Brandon Cruz-Monsiváis, bringing it home in third place today in the small town computer car.
And now I'm going to send it down to PDJ Zeller. He's on pit road with the driver of the 00, James Brown, who comes home P2.
Yeah, I've caught down here on pit road with James Brown, and James, what a spectacular event from you and the 00 crew. And man, you fought hard today, kept your machine near the front. Take us through your race and how you managed to get to that second place finish.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. But thanks to Gordon Berkey, he set my car up for me this week, and it was hot all week. Man, I had a fast car all week. I had more confidence going into this race than any CORA race I've ever raced in. And just thanks to Gordon, we stayed clean. We just we never got in a hurry. We never panicked. The outside line would be moving, and we were just content, stay out of trouble, and see where it was going to be at the end. And as it turned out, we liked the way it turned out.
Well, James, you took a very interesting strategy there. We saw cars trying to make it, and someone on the same strategy, Patrick Skyhill, was going to try to make it on fuel, and I know you were on the same fuel cycle as his, so I want to know what your mindset was on that. Did you think that Skyhill being on the same fuel strategy as you had any chance at making it to the checkered flag?
No, I knew he was going to run out, and we would love to see this go green, because we were set up for just a splash and go, and I think we would have come out a little bit better than we are right now. Not that I'm upset about second by any means, but we had our strategy planned out to where a splash and go would have really done us good.
Well, James, what were you thinking that last corner? You were right behind him, man, and do you think that maybe if you made your move a little bit sooner, you could have got by him and won this race?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd won this race, but I kept thinking about making the move, but I saw Brandon coming and the rest of them guys coming, and I was content to just shove Damon as far and as fast as I could, and if I didn't get around him, I was just definitely happy with a second. I didn't want to be any further back than I am right now. Congratulations to Damon.
All right, man, before I let you go catch up with your crew, who do you got to thank? Who makes that from the 00 crew?
Well, I got to thank the Lafarge employees, everybody I work with. They pay my entry fees every week, and that's the Lafarge employees. And I'd have to especially thank CORA and the staff, the Gordon Berkey and Kevin McCarthy and Terry and Brenda Hurley, Colin Foreman, Teresa Chase, and Alan Larson, who's only here on limited space right now, but the entire CORA staff, just thanks to what they do, because without them, we couldn't do this every week. And LSR TV, I beg your pardon. Yep, all you guys in the booth.
All right, well, thank you, James. That was your second place finish, right? James Brown with a great run. But meanwhile, down victory lane, Evan Pasoko is caught up with Damon Gilbert where the champagne is flying.
He started inside of the top 5 in a top 6 that featured nobody else starting better than 10th. Stayed there for the majority of it as much as he could, and Damon Gilbert is your winner tonight for the Daytona International Speedway. Damon, first off, congratulations. How'd you get that one done? It got pretty crazy there at the end. You pulled the strategy card, came in way before everybody else was planning on it. Caution made them come down pit road. You got cycled up to the front, and Patrick Skyhill tried to push the field. He couldn't do it, and you held off James Brown, coming out of 4 for the final time. You walk away your winner tonight. How was the race overall?
It was good. Me and Dustin planned on working together, but he got caught burning his tires in qualifying, so he got sent to the tail at the start. And we just tried to work it as good as we could to get him back up to the front to work together. And we pitted early, and it worked out great. We were 6 seconds in front of the pack, the second pack, when some of the cars cycled through. And then, of course, I bumper hooked them, and we lost all our ground.
Well, you were able to get the job done when it's all said and done, and you finish on top. But going into a race like this at Daytona, the opening portion had a long green flag stretch. We had a few cautions in the middle there, followed by another long green flag stretch. And just to kick it off, a little bit of a shootout. It was exciting for us, obviously nerve-wracking for you guys out there. A lot of guys, though, got caught up in incidents. Were you pretty much out of those, or did you get caught up in anything tonight?
I didn't get caught up in anything. I led the front pack on the outside for most of the race, for the first half. And then after that, the strategies played us through, and we were all by ourselves for a while.
Well, again, we talk about, qualifying and how important that track position is. And I said the guys behind you, they started 17th, 16th, 10th, 26th, 14th. You were able to stay up there for the whole race. You come home with the winner tonight in the first Gen 6 race that we've seen this season on CORA. A lot more of those coming up. We're going to be at Las Vegas in 1 week's time, followed by Indianapolis. What are your thoughts going into those two in the Gen 6 car before we head back to the trucks?
I'm going to try as hard. These aren't my greatest car. I'm going to try as hard as I can to get great sets for those races, because some of them are open sets, I'm pretty sure. And, yeah.
We were able to get it done tonight. Who made this possible for you and that number 60 team? Sponsors and shout-outs, everybody.
Thank Dustin Lee for being my partner all the time. George Bark for giving me this setup. And you guys for commentating this race, and everybody's putting this on.
Well, again, congratulations on the win, Damon. Thanks for taking over to talk to us. And hopefully we'll see that 68 car up front like it was tonight and here in the future. Good luck rolling forward in the season.
Thank you.
That is tonight's winner, driver of the number 68 car. When it is all said and done, it is the Triton entry, that number 68 Chevrolet, who comes home victorious. Guys, it was, well, a Daytona race. We saw big wrecks, we saw wild action, and to top it all off, just to be safe, we had that shootout, squick that one in there for you guys. But it was exciting for us. A lot of guys had a rough night. A lot of guys had great nights. I mean, it was a Daytona race. It's stereotypical, and we said it not in a bad way, but it was a super speedway race that had everything.
You pretty much said it all there. What more can you say? But it was Daytona, and Damon Gilbert won up by the hair on his fingernail, as Petey says there. I don't understand that saying, but I'll use it anyway. Great race. Damon Gilbert just was the class of the field tonight at the end there. Great race by James Brown and Brandon Cruz Monsiváis, finishing second and third also.
Yeah, we saw a great event there tonight, and really happy we saw a great finish with James Brown, giving it his all. Same with Damon Gilbert, and can't wait for next week. It's just going to be a fun season, man, and it hasn't disappointed since.
Yeah, I don't have to travel as far for the next one because we're going to be in my town, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, in 1 week's time. But again, Daytona, it was Daytona. It was an exciting race, and, you know, that's what we come to expect. It was good to see the Gen 6 cars out. We've seen every other one that they've run. We've seen the trucks. We've seen the B cars. We've seen the one race that they actually had in the super late models before scrapping those. We saw the Indy cars, and now NASCAR's top class for the next 2 weeks as well. The full results have been scrolling across the top of the screen, and that pretty much wraps things up from Daytona. I want to thank all the sponsors on CORA side of things that make things possible. Hurley Property Management, Small Town Computers, iRacing.com, Team Speak, and BART Competition Karting. Title sponsor for tonight's race, the BART Competition Karting 250. For more information on CORA, check them out online. It's going to be CORA-racing.com. Same thing on Facebook. Type that into the search bar and find out more information on them. Again, qualifiers throughout the week. Go online. You can be out on track in 1 week's time if you finish top 12 in any of the 3 qualifiers throughout the week. But until next time, on behalf of the LSR TV broadcast crew, myself, Evan Poselko, alongside with Carl Jones and PDJ Zeller, executive producer Laura Lawson for getting us there. That is it from Daytona. Again, your winner tonight for the BART Competition Karting 250 is Damon Gilbert. We'll see you in 1 week's time from America's Racing Showplace in Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Good night.